Alright guys, so in the previous video we had seen how to check if a given year is a leap year or not. We had seen how we can do that. As you could see, if that year is a century year, you should check for divisibility by 400, else you should check for divisibility by 4. So we have realized this leap year check, right? So what is pending? We have to check if it is a valid date or not. So for checking for this, what are the parameters? Let us define. We had actually used the name, so let us define it. So let us say define check valid date. That was the name that I had used. So what are the parameters it had taken? It had taken the date. It had then taken, let us see, it had taken date, month, year and the factor that it is a leap year or not a leap year. Date, month, year and the factor that it is a leap year or not a leap year. Even here you can perform leap year check if needed, but okay, given that we had performed, we'll directly pass in that factor. That can be an alternative way by which you can code it. So I am checking if it is a valid date. I am beginning with my check. So the thing is, first thing I have to check is the special month February. It depends on if it is a leap year or not. So I should say the first check is if this is a leap year, the leap year factor, that is this functionality has returned true or false, right? So if this factor is true, if the factor L, which stands for leap year, is true, then I should first check if it is the month is February. So I should check if the entered month is equal to 2, which stands for February. If that is the case, you check what is the date that has been entered. That is a leap year and it is a February. If it is less than 30, that is up to 29 is allowed, right? So I am saying if it is less than 30, you say you return true. That is a leap year, month is February and the date entered is less than 30. So it's a valid date, so you return true. Say that it's a valid date. If this is not true, else it's not a valid date, so return false. Sorry, false has to be in caps. So this we had done check for February month. Alright, the first check that we have done now is for the month of February in case if it is a leap year. If the month is not February, what is the case? So that comes here, column number 9. So the same column number 9. See, Python indentation is important. So here if I say else, that is the input month is not February. So what is the pattern? We had seen till July there was a pattern. From August there is a change in pattern. So then that we have to capture it. Let us first categorize that into month is before August or after August. We'll categorize them into if the month is before August or after August. So August is the 8th month, right? So let us see if month is less than 8. If that is the case, if that is a month before August, that is till July. Till July what was the case? Odd numbered months had 31 days. Even numbered months had 30 days. So we'll capture that. We'll check if that is a odd numbered month. How will we check? Month mod 2 is equal to 1 if it is an odd number. In that case, you should check if the date must be maximum allowed is 31. So let's see, date is less than 32. In that case, you will say yes, it is a valid date. Return true. Right, see, it is not the February month, the special month. it's some other month only. So we have to categorize that as if it is before August or after August, that is from August. We'll have to categorize it. So if it is before August, if it is less than 8, the month is less than 8. August is the 8th month. If it is less than that, that is if it is before August, check if it is an odd numbered month or even numbered month. If it is an odd numbered month, the maximum allowed date is 31. So you say if date is less than 32, it's a valid date. Return that it's a valid date. Else you return false, stating that it is an invalid date. So this is the pattern for odd numbered months. 31 days are there. If it is an even numbered month, what happens? This test will fail. So here you should say else. So this denotes the even numbered months. In even numbered months, the limit is 30 days, right? So the same thing, I'll copy paste it. I'll use the same thing, just that there are 30 days that is allowed. So I have to change this limit as 31. So if it is less than 31, that is still 30 only will be allowed. Otherwise it will not be allowed. This has to be there. Also, here what if someone enters a negative value? For month we had checked the negative value. So we'll check that as well. So let me check it here. Check valid date is the check I am performing. So let me say date is greater than 0. It has to be a positive value and this thing. Both the things, if it is satisfied, you say it's a valid date, otherwise say it's an invalid date. That's it. So that thing I had missed it in the previous video, so I'm including it. Please make a note of it. So okay, we'll get back to this. So what we had done till now, we checked if it is a leap year, if it is the month of February, then we allow dates till 29. So we had said this, if date is less than 30 as the limit. In that case it's a valid date, else it's an invalid date. If it is not February, we have two partitions of months. If it is before August, the odd numbered months have 31 days. Even numbered months have 30 days. That we are capturing here. This is the pattern for before August. So what if it is after August? So here I should give a else part then, right? So it's column number 13. So let me give an else part here. Column number 13, else. So this is the months. The month is from August and above. The month is 8 and above. For this part, the same thing, just that the pattern reverses. For even numbered months, you have 31 days and odd numbered months have 30 days. So let me copy paste it and let me make a very small modification. With that it's done. If that is a even numbered month, so this has to be 0. So I hope you are understanding this part. So given that you are in the 11th week, I assume that by now you are very familiar with this and you can understand it fast. That's why I am going slightly fast. But nevertheless, if you feel that you need to slow down, you can pause the video, think over it, you check the if-else conditions, you take an input, run through the flow and you will understand it. Also, this is not the only way by which we can write the code. There may be many ways, and when you have these many number of if-else, there are multiple ways by which we can wire the conditions. You try for alternate ways as well and discuss them on the discussion forum. So all these checks we have done if it is a leap year. If it is not a leap year, the same things will hold, but the only change is February will have 28 days. All the other months, the thing is same, right? So let me just copy paste it. Let me copy till here. Copied. Okay. So I should put that right. So the leap year check I had done it in column 5. So let me go back and do it here in column 5. I'll get back to column 5. Okay. So here I should give else and say I'll paste. Okay. So I had pasted it. So the check is very similar. That's why I had copy pasted it. But maybe you can give a pause. You can think over and you will understand the flow. Maybe one thing I'll do is I'll maximize this part and explain. Okay. this thing I have maximized. See if you could see. I have saved it. You could see this. The first check that we are doing is if it is a leap year or not. If it is a leap year and if the month is February, maximum allowed date is 29. So I had set this limit. If all these are satisfied, you say that it's a valid date, else you say it's a invalid date. So you return false. In case of invalid and valid, then you have to return true. If it is not February, the partitioning is if till July, the odd numbered months have 31 days and even numbered months have 30 days. After July, the pattern reverses. That's what we are capturing here. If month is less than 8, 8 is August, right? So if that is less than 8, if it is before August, this is a pattern. If it's an odd numbered months, you allow the maximum value as 31, else you say it's an invalid date. Otherwise, you allow the maximum value to be 30. That is, if it is not an odd numbered month, you allow it to be 30. This is till July. So after July, the pattern is for even numbered months allow up to 31. For odd numbered months allow up to 30. This is a pattern. All this we had done if it is a leap year. In leap year, February has 29 days. If it is a non-leap year, the only change is February has 28 days. So I have to make a change here. Date is less than 29. Till 28 is allowed. You say it's true, else you say it's false. And the rest all things just follows as such. So maybe you can rewire this and write in other ways. You can perform the February check at some later point of time as well. You can rewire it in multiple ways. Given that there are so many branchings, you can rewire the conditions as you wish. You try different rewirings and do discuss in the discussion forum. It's easy, but you need to give some thought. You need to give some time here. That's it. Just pause the video here. Think over it. Take a pen and paper. You run through the flow of this code. Just run through it. Try rewiring the conditions as I had said. Discuss them in the discussion forum. With all this, it will be very clear. It will be very crystal clear to you. So this is how we are checking if it is a valid date. Alright. So we had seen how to check a valid date. We'll see the remaining part. So after getting the input, what are we supposed to do? We'll see that in the next part.